Services and president and co-founder of Service Six Sigma. Welcome to today's show, Service Six Sigma. Today is going to be a great show, and we want to thank you for hopping on early at 7 o'clock p.m. Mountain Standard Time is when we go live every day. But you are here early, so we go about 10 minutes early before the show starts, just so that Facebook, YouTube can do its thing in the background. But comment down below where you're at, where you're watching from, if you're in the United States or whatever, what state you're from. So comment down below to let us know where you're watching from. And if you are on the job site and watching or listening to us in your ears or whatever, or headphones, comment down below. Let us know what you're doing, what type of job you're doing, window cleaning or pressure washing or whatever. Let us know how the job is going. We always want to hear how our viewers are doing. We also want you to upload your TikToks or Instagram Reels or any videos you produce. We would love to play them during this 10 minutes to show people what you're doing out on the job site. So we always want to share what our viewers are doing out in the field. Anyways, stay tuned in and stand by till our show starts. Have an epic day.
Hey, it's Harrison from reach@thefutureofclean.com. Before Ben and Perry go online, well, you may know him as Perry, I know him as Dad. While he's being semi-retired, I've decided that Reach is going to sponsor Service Six Sigma, because it's another way for Perry to be able to give back to the window cleaning industry and service industries in general. So let's get on with the show.
And we're live. That was my fault.
Live,
You guys have got
4 minutes
daylight
late.
savings.
Sorry. Obviously, we
We're
didn't get
gonna
that communication through.
You
What a
guys have got daylight
disaster.
savings. Sorry, bro. That's all my fault. Thanks,
That's
Charles,
all
for being
good.
here because I was expecting you to be here an hour later.
Yeah, no worries. I'm just nervous and prepped to be here at any time.
Fantastic.
And that's probably a good note for everybody else. If you're tuning in from out of the country, so technically right now would be 6:06, but right now it's actually 7:06. So that is a good
My
note
bad.
It's okay.
First, well,
Anyways, Perry,
yeah, doesn't it?
Only twice a year.
Well, I'm not going to do the rundown on Service Six Sigma. We're going to cut straight to the chase. We have our guest from Japan. Are you kidding me? Charles Johnson.
Hello.
How are you, man?
I'm doing good, you
I
guys.
reckon this is going to go crazy. People thinking about, Japan. Ben, have you loaded up some of those photos that Charles has sent us?
Yes, I did.
Fantastic. Okay, that's great. Look at that. See, that's just the best banner. Thanks, Ben.
Sweet.
So,
Yes,
Charles, oh, yeah, Ben, go.
No, I just see that. Do you guys have employees?
Yeah, so we have employees, but being a resort town, we don't have really like full-time employees, but basically people who want to make some extra cash and have some kind of experience cleaning windows or buildings, then I invite them on. Yeah. He's from Poland.
Something that we talked about on our meeting before, Charles, is that you were a huge fan of just a typical boar's hair block broom, is what Perry likes to call it.
Yeah.
What made you want to switch to the Reach It products?
Right. So I think the reason I wanted to switch to a Reach It product is because I was striving to have the best tool, because I know what it feels like to use the right tool. I know what it feels like to make something work that's not really the right tool. And so at the time I was using boar's hair and nylon brushes, I thought I was at the pinnacle of window cleaning brushes at the time. And I forget how I found out exactly, but I found out I was entirely incorrect in my understanding of the quality of brushes.
There's a big difference because Charles, so we'll go back over the history of how we got into window cleaning, but I started off using truck brushes, right? The VCAN from, they're made in Denmark, and they have a
what
flocked.
Does that look like?
It's a flocked bristle brush. It's made from a particular plastic, PET, I think. And they basically make a bristle brush, and then they put it in this machine with little blades that vibrate it, and it shatters the bristle, a bit like how microfiber works.
Yes.
So it shatters the bristles, and they become very soft and furry. But they've got no, and I did that, because I always say, like, the history of the waterfed pole. You bought a waterfed pole, and you got a brush, and you use that brush with that waterfed pole until everything died, and then you bought a new waterfed pole with a brush, and that's how people talk about, waterfed poles, but they don't talk about waterfed brushes, right? They just talk about waterfed poles because the brush was always part of the pole, right?
I see.
And then I thought, when I got into it, I'm going, no, there's got to be more. And then I started selling internationally. And when I got internationally, I realized that everybody's dealing with different conditions, different windows, different security systems, in different countries. And then different, in one part of America, they've got a thing called an Anderson screen, which is actually a bug screen, but made from aluminum. And then in the sun, the aluminum oxide goes to the window and sticks on the window and makes a haze. And it's actually aluminum oxide on the window. So there's all these, and everybody's an expert in their own area. And so they all put their opinion up about what's right, and their opinion is right. I wouldn't argue with them about their opinion about what they're experiencing, but what happens all over the world is completely different. What's happening in Alaska, Japan, Nevada desert, like Las Vegas, and then you go up to Buffalo, and you go down to Florida and Miami, and everything's different. And then BPU, I always talk about BPU because we always say, oh, BPU, what gets BPU off? Well, then I thought, the bees in New Zealand, eat different flowers than the bees in bloody Australia.
Here in Japan, we have these things called like kami mushi, and means like turtle bug, and it's basically a stink bug, and they have like the hardest, thinnest poop that sticks to the windows out here.
And do you get fly zones where they migrate from one area to another and then just bomb a house?
Yeah. So what the kami mushi like to do is they like to find the most minuscule, impossible crack and do like an octopus trick and like slide into the house. And so their goal is to get into the house, and then they die there in peace, like all over the place every fall. And so before they find a way to get into the glass, they just like slather it up with their remains.
That's a good way to put it. Slather it up.
Yeah.
Wow. So you've got an American accent. Where are you originally from?
Yes. So I was originally born
or Canadian.
In, what's that?
Or Canadian? I don't know.
I lived
American.
Yeah. So my brief rundown would be: I am an American by passport and by upbringing. I grew up in the country in Oregon, up in a ranch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was born in Los Angeles, right? So my parents they weren't hippies. I wouldn't say that at all, but they were of the generation where they wanted to like get out of the city and like have their own cows and vegetables.
Free life, yeah.
Free life. And so they did the free life and went to Oregon, and that's where I grew up, like pretty Oregonian to say the least. That's how I grew up. Yeah, and then lived in Florida for a little while. Went to high school there. A little more, like it's a mix between country and city. It's still in Florida, but it's free there too. I would say living in Florida for like 7 years. But yeah, so after Florida, Illinois, played football, got some free university schooling. Then I went to live in Canada for about 4 years in Vancouver, and that was another kind of free as well. And then after doing that, made my way to China, Qingdao. It's in Shandong province, which apparently made
I lived in Qingdao for 6 months on a big deal. Yeah.
Yes.
Shugong. We put the solar thermal system on top of the 5-star private hospital in Shugong. Shugong. Do you know Shugong, the vegetable city? It's inland from Qingdao.
No,
inland and up, like Jinan.
Yeah, Jinan, Jiaozhou.
Yeah, yes, up in that area there. But I saw some amazing stuff up there because I'll tell you. We'll digress slightly because you've been in China. This city is focused on vegetation and the art of vegetation and growing food for masses of people. 1.4 billion people, and I saw this tree, a tomato tree, and it grew. It was a full-size tree, right? But all supported, as you do with tomatoes, because they're not very strong. And it was hydroponic, and it grew 3 tons of tomatoes a year.
One tree.
Wow.
One tree.
Whoa.
One tree. It was like a maybe it would have to be 25, 30 feet across the top,
right? Yeah,
all the way it had grown out, and it had a trunk that would have been 3 or 4 inches going down into the hydroponics. Yes. Amazing. Anyway, so back to Qingdao. Qingdao's a sailing city, beautiful in summer, horrible in winter.
I got out in end of November. Like the end of November, I was already heading back to America, so I totally missed the winter.
Right, you got the best of it. Yeah. But not many foreigners in Qingdao, right?
No, not
compared to other cities. Yeah,
there was one guy from Africa, and I only saw him twice, and he was like my rival teacher. And so, so a lot of the Korean families would come to me and say like, "Oh, like, are you a native American speaker?" I'm like, "Yeah," and so they kind of put me in a bad position where some of the African guys, old students, would leave him and come to me because I was American.
Because of the accent, yeah.
Yeah, and so people would run up to me and like take a photo and say, "Oh, it's Kobe Bryant," and then run away. And it was actually a really weird experience. I'd have people come to me, elderly people, and like touch my hair and smell my head, and I'd say like,
Wow.
wait, meow, and they look at me like I'm not even human. Like I didn't say anything.
Yeah. It's
Wow.
like being a giraffe that got out of the zoo. But you must be Hungao, right? Are you tall?
Yeah, I'm a 194 centimeters. Like you're taller than me, I think.
Yeah, I'm 190, 198 and shrinking.
Oh yeah, I meant 194. Yeah, you're 198.
Yeah.
You're big,
Yeah.
man.
I'm 2 meters with shoes on, 6'6". Yeah.
Huge.
Oh,
All right.
look at you! There you are. Oh, you look like
Yeah.
Shrek.
Yeah, right. Huge. There's such a big difference. So I was in a cafe here in a place called Lake Toya. It's like a ancient volcano caldera, and the middle of the caldera has like 3 like pyramidal shaped mountains, and it's just a huge lake around 3 mountains, and it's an extinct ancient caldera. And this cafe, this lady, she works there, and I went there after scuba diving that day. I was like scuba diving training in the lake.
Wow. How cold was
Wow.
that?
Very cold. There's like a layer in the water. I'm not sure the technical term, but like up here it's warm, and then you just hit like a wall
Right.
of
As soon as
cold
you
water.
go below 3 meters or something, you're into.
Yeah, this one was 8. Once you hit 18 meters in this lake, it was like scary cold because you can't see far. And
Wow.
it's scary. It was
And then
scary.
it freezes you, and wow, that would scare the out of you. Wow. Okay, so we scuba dive here. Oh, we're gonna have a great time today. We scuba dive here also. We started scuba diving last year. We went to Komodo National Park in Indonesia, and I
Ooh.
chartered a 21-meter sloop just for me and my 2 boys, and we had 7 crew and 3 of us. So we'd
Yeah.
play every night. We'd take the Zodiac ashore and play frisbee or soccer, football or whatever. Just play on the beach every night, and
Yeah.
just 10 lads and the crew. You can imagine the crew, because often the crew are like seen as servants, but for us they were our brothers in entertainment and having fun. So we'd have
Yeah.
dance parties on the boat and all that. My
Hard
boys,
memories.
that bonded my. I made a tattoo. I made a tattoo in memory of the
no
bonding. Yeah, the bonding. That's my.
Sick. That's a really unique
And then-
sleeve, man. I've never seen.
Yeah,
sleeve.
right.
No way.
And that's me. And there were 3 photos of us. But it bonded the three of us, because I'm 61, my oldest son is 31, and my youngest son is 12. So to have the 3 of us so close, scuba was great for that. Yeah.
Whoa, no way.
Yeah, it's a great sleeve, right?
Yeah, right. I saw your sleeve like kind of like half sticking out in some photos. Before I was like, is that
Yeah.
Japanese style? That's Indonesian
No.
scuba diving.
Yeah, Indonesian and here in Thailand. So
In
Harrison
Thailand,
wears the Batman hood. Yeah.
He's the oldest, right,
Fantastic.
Harrison?
Yeah. He runs Reach It now. So me and Ben, I'm semi-retired. I still mentor him. So, I'm involved in day to day, and I do live chat overnight and stuff like that. But me and Ben are doing Service Six Sigma as a kind of a, it definitely has got me excited, hasn't it, Ben?
It has. It's a great way to get back too. So
Magnificent. And then because I've got the contacts all over the world, the idea of showing people what's happening in different parts of the world, and then the real life stories, because that's what makes life interesting. And then we're going to cross-pollinate across into carpet cleaning and rubbish bin cleaning and roof washing, and try and get guys in from different industries and say landscaping, what's working for you. And then hopefully over time we'll all be able to cross-pollinate and pick some ideas out of other industries of what they've done and worked, which our mentors, gurus, sales industry don't share with us. I'm hoping, we don't know yet, but
Yeah.
I'm sure there's stuff that the carpet, because I always say, our industry bags the $99 guy, right? But the carpet industry is all $99 guy. But every time I've booked a $99 carpet cleaning guy, he's walked out with $400 or $500 every time,
Yeah, plus.
yeah, he's a master of it, So then I think, okay, we need to get one of them carpet cleaning upselling guys on, so that we can play the $99 guy if we want to. It's a business model that works, But you've got to you can't be the $99 guy, wrecking the industry. You got to be the $99 guy like
Yeah.
taking home as much as anybody else. Yeah.
Right. I understood. I understand.
So when did you move to
So-
Japan then?
I moved to Japan in good question, 2011.
So long ago. How old are you?
Yes, I'm 39 years old. 39.
Wow, you don't look it.
Yeah, thanks. So I think I give that blessing of, I guess, looking young to my mom. She looks young. She's about 70, but looks like she's probably 50.
Yeah, nice. There you go.
My dad.
See?
Yeah, and
You're
my
gonna
dad,
be-
my dad as well. He's Superman to me and my family. So forever young, forever young.
Fantastic. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
So wow. So I moved to China in 2010, but
Ah.
you'd already been in China then, right?
Yeah, I was there in 2008 during the Olympic sailing regatta and the Olympic Games.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
such
that
a
would have
huge
been
change.
great.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
timing was like things moving around, people coming, people going, and things being built.
And was that your first time in Southeast Asia?
Yes, yeah, yep.
What a shock.
Yeah, I went. This is kind of an interesting story. It's a short story though. So, at the time I went to China, I was probably 23 years old, about 23, 24.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty
And-
young.
Yeah, I was about the age of Ben here, and so I had wanted to enlist in the military because I played football, like a Division I football in Illinois State. So I was feeling like, my royal oats, like I'm strong, I'm Superman, And so I wanted to enlist, but I didn't at the time. And then so when I was 24, I was going to enlist again not again, but enlist and then go on to processing. And so my dad's like, hey son, like I'm gonna get a back surgery, so I appreciate it if you could wait a year or so and help me out. So I was like, okay. And then at the time he decided not to get a back surgery, so I felt kind of like I missed opportunity. So I just went. I had to go somewhere like dangerous, I thought. So I went to China by myself without like knowing anything.
Communist China. Really
Yeah.
dangerous.
Yeah. So, in my mind, at the time, in my mind, it was dangerous. So
I'm the same. I was the same. I was terrified. I thought I was going to get bloody, excuse my language, thought I was going to get stabbed in the little streets. And
Thanks.
I was terrified when I got there.
I got pretty close to that. I don't know how much I can say on this chat, but
Hey,
yeah, I'll just say they have everyone knows internationally about organ harvesting for health benefits and whatnot.
uh-huh.
So there was I had a Korean female student who would tell me, she's like, teacher, like be careful because the organ harvesting is real and like you're big and healthy and you might get your organs harvested. And I was just like,
What?
silly
They
girl,
just
like,
take your organs?
Yeah, like seriously. I just told her,
my
I was like, hey, just
gosh.
like chill out, right? But,
Yeah, I'm gonna go hunt a big guy to get his organs.
yeah, like
No
and
way.
it's the
best.
Oh my gosh.
That's the best pickup line I've heard, dude. She was cracking onto you. Yeah, you got
She was-
big kidneys.
yeah.
Peace out. I'm out.
Yeah.
Oh,
I-
God.
A taxi driver was like taking me to like a place that is only known for like coal transportation. So it's like a coal train station, and it's like no lights, no signs of like of life. And
It was
she's
spooky.
like, yeah,
He's taking you
like,
to the red zone.
yeah. And so I got there. I got all the way to like the entrance with the taxi driver because I had 2 of my electric bikes stolen. And I got corralled into needing a taxi. The same taxi driver would wait for me at this apartment complex. And then finally he took me to this place. And I call it by the grace of God. Who knows exactly what it is, but I just in my heart was like, do not turn
No.
this, like, do not take me here. And he's like, oh, I remember your address. And he turns right. He turns left instead of turning
Oh my
to the
gosh.
right. And then took me home. And I was like, okay, I think it's time to start thinking about my future here.
And
But,
so
yeah,
you
so
were
I don't-
teaching there, right? So you were making money from teaching at that point, yeah?
Yes, two a private and two private jobs. Yes.
Goodness me.
Mm.
Goodness me.
And then that's when you
Yeah.
started window cleaning?
Yeah, so window cleaning, basically, okay, window cleaning started when I was really young. So living in Oregon, my parents would always have us clean the house on Saturdays. And so wash the inside walls with towel and like Clorox bleach, Windex or whatever, Lysol, Pine Sol. We'd clean the windows exteriorly and interiorly with like a just cotton towel. My parents had a squeegee. I never really knew what it was, but I'd always play with it. I'd never seen them use it. I never used it properly, but I'd always hold it because they had like a brass channel old squeegee.
Oh, nice. Like an iterate, yeah.
Yes, yeah. And then as a young kid, I didn't really appreciate the character building of cleaning. And so I was always like running away from cleaning to go play outside. But now I found myself, when I was going to the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, there was a guy I respect named Alex Londo. And he opened like Vancouver's best pressure washing and exterior services company from one, from one pressure washer in the back of an old ice cream truck. That's how he started.
Oh, wow.
And so his parents are quite affluent, but they let him, do his own business ideas. So he started off with what he had, and he grew it quickly to the Vancouver's, like, it's called Hydro Pro, and now it's probably called something else. But that's where I started getting like real, proper training in how to use a pressure washer and things like that, like painting. I did it earlier, but not, as an employee, And so I looked at him and I'm like, wow, you can make something out of, being outside in the woods, using your hands, basically laboring, but it gives you good satisfaction and it's healthy and it doesn't feel like you're not digging a hole in the ground, And so from there, I kept that in my pocket as like a little weapon to use at the right time. So skip forward a few years, I found myself in Hokkaido, Japan, which is has a ski resort called Niseko, Annapurna, Hirafu, and Hanazono. And basically this town is orientated to servicing the owners of the individual properties. And that's about it, because that's enough income to keep like the whole city going, the whole town. And so I saw a gap in the market where, why don't people like give more services to the owners and take care of the people like in the middle, who are like the reason why the owners bought property here in the first place, because there's already people here to begin with. And so,
Yes.
And so I started going to property management companies and doing first, like I didn't first come in like, oh, this is my company. I came in really, really low to like get to know people and like get my bearings, And so if I may tell you, I started
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I was in a prefecture called Yamagata. I was a ski lodge manager, and I was there for a year. And I decided I needed to leave to go somewhere where I can have more autonomy and independence in my own like income generation. And so I went to Hokkaido because an Australian family told me, go to Hokkaido. There's a lot of English speakers. If you want to work for an English speaking company, you can. Or if you wanted to start your own company, Hokkaido is the best place in Japan, if you love Japan, to go to start. And so I took their word on it, and I came up here to Hokkaido. I started off as a concierge, I call it concierge receptionist guy. I was like in the back office, writing emails, like booking tour buses and restaurants. And I didn't take it very seriously because I was like, I'm just doing this simple thing on the computer. And I really didn't take it seriously. So I've never been fired before until that one job in 2017. I've never been fired. And the guy, my boss, is a really good guy. I still talk to him till this day, but he's like, Charles, I don't think you're cut out for concierge, man. Like there's a lot of things you can do here. Like I'll give you a letter of recommendation or tell different people about you, but you concierge is not.
Yeah, and I can't. Yeah, and I can't say ask.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I guess I can't write emails, you know. So I was kind of like in a bad headspace for a little while, and then I was told to get out of my share accommodation because I had just left two previous housing situations, which one was my own house, then living in a lodge, and then now I'm in a share house. So I'm like, what's happening to my life? um, and so I get a job at a pizza restaurant being a driver. And so I was supposed to just be on the phones. Another Australian company. They're like, hey mate, like, you know, you speak correctly, properly, understandably. Why don't you, you know, do the phones? And so once I got into the pizza place with my staff, they're just like, nah, mate, nah, like you can do whatever you want. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna drive. And so pizza place, no job at all, but the pizza at night, which is only like 4 hours or so, right? Then I saw a Facebook ad for a warehousing position, warehousing and driver. And I waited like 4 months to be a real estate front desk manager, which for a company from Thailand, which fell through at the last moment. And so I took the warehousing and transportation job, like happily. And so that they're actually based in Hong Kong. So the point I'm telling you these different countries is when you do business here in Japan, for example, if you're working with international people and not Japanese, they're from all over the world here, right?
Yeah.
And so what happened? So I started doing that, and then the job was like too good to be true. I was paid year round just to work like 3 months a year because I was on a salary to do warehousing and storage for people's snowboards. And so that's the time I went into window cleaning. I was telling myself, this is too good to be true. If I don't do something for myself during this easy time in life, I'm going to kick myself in the butt when life takes a turn, like it always does sometimes.
Yeah.
You know? And so I got into Doug Rucker's pressure washing videos. I'm not sure if your viewers are familiar.
Yeah. Doug sells our gear as well. Yep.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
He's good. Yeah, he's a good buddy of mine. Yep.
Hell yeah. So I'm watching.
I write him down. I've got to get him on this, right? He's a great guy.
He's good, man. He's really good.
Yeah. Got him. Okay, great. Okay.
Yeah. So
so you did his courses?
Yes. So I didn't fully sign up for the college, the academic part, but all of his free material, which is more than anyone could expect to be free. I watched all of his material on how to properly pressure wash in like this day and age, you know, soft washing, chemicals, ratios, and all of this stuff, right? And one of the things he said was, you should add on window cleaning. And I was like, kind of scared to do window cleaning because I never learned how to use a squeegee, right? And
right.
So I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. But they mentioned like this water. I'd never heard of water-fed pole until Doug Rucker mentioned it in one of his videos as well. He's like, you can use this water-fed pole, ultra pure water, and you know, negatively charged ions, and just pulls the dirt right off to the ground. And I'm like, whoa, okay. Let me just add a pole and a brush to my truck because I'm just going to be washing buildings. I thought I'm just going to cakewalk, pressure washing, shooting up SH and rinsing it off. And so when I started to advertise my service after living here and being a pizza worker, delivery, and making kebab meat and going to the bars in the first year, people knew me. Like, oh, Nate, like, what are you up to now? And like, let me see. Oh, building washing, window cleaning. Oh, can you clean our windows? And this is where the confidence came in like having your faith in God or having your faith in your experience or having faith in just jumping into the water. And so I just like, yeah, I can do window cleaning. And so I ordered at the time an OVA 8 pole and a no-named brush that had boar's hair in the middle, nylon on the outside. And from what I saw on other websites like the window cleaning resource, I saw that, you know, the boar's hair brushes were like the top of their line and quite expensive. So I was like, wow, I've got the best brush in the world here. You know, I really thought that. Nothing to say to any company who was selling it, because you can get generic ones which are boar's hair and nylon as well. So I had the brush, you know, and I was stoked. And
the brush.
Yeah. at the time, I'm sorry to reach it.
The
I
Holy
thought it was
Grail.
the best brush.
No, it's fine because I went through the same. I went through the same evolution before there was
Same.
Reach It as well, right? Everybody
Same.
does. Ben is the
Yeah.
same. Ben is the same.
Ben was saying the same, right? So
Yeah.
Ben, like in Paris, I was sitting there like doing like the technique you have to use with a Boris Hair brush with pencil jets, 2 pencil jets only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to get the pressure right, you know, because sometimes they'll shoot too far,
Too far.
or not far
Yeah.
enough, you know.
Yes.
And so,
No.
yeah, so I'm up there scrubbing, and looking at the glass and over again, and taking considerable amount of time to clean one house. And granted, the homes here are in a ski resort, so they're like large chalet type homes. And
Yep.
so I
Lots
would
of glass.
lots of glass because like 360
Yeah.
views of the mountain, of the ski
Yeah.
resort, of the woods.
Wonderful.
Yes. And so basically, to get into the good stuff, when I came in contact, how did I first see a Reach It brush is a question. I think
Because we don't advertise in Japan, I don't think.
no, I might have did a Google search, like using my creative mind. I probably searched like what is the future of window cleaning? Does the window cleaning have a future?
Right. Then you'd find us.
And then I find the future. So then I find your website, right? Like directly.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
Reach It, the future of window cleaning. And I'm like, oh, thank you. You know? Like,
Yeah.
but, you know, I'm thinking I have to be self-confident being in a foreign country without a support group of like friends. Like I have friends, but like friends and family are not here. And so
Yeah.
I'm telling myself, you know, good job, Charles. Way to go. And so I go into your website and I'm browsing over and over again, and yourself and your son Harry are really good with messaging back. And so I started the contact on like the chat menu on the
Live
side.
chat. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was really, really pleased to see that it wasn't like a robot. It wasn't like an AI chatbot. I was actually
Yeah.
speaking with like the founder of the company, and to my knowledge now,
Yeah.
like his son.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Co-founder. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that made like a connection, which, don't get me wrong, AI is good, but having a real person be on the other end of a text message really like made a bond for me. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, and so I'm like, why are these brushes so expensive? Was the next thing I thought.
Yeah.
I was like, I can get this brush for like X amount of money here, and this brush for X amount of money there. Why is this brush this price? And so I read, I spoke with you. I read your like free information, the Reach It like cleaning method, how you can clean like 4 times faster and make, what is it, like $400 an hour, $450 an hour.
Yeah. Radio Rocker can pull in $450 an hour. Yep.
Right. And
Yep.
so I was thinking like, it's a lot more than I'm making right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to get this brush because if I can even get a fraction of this $450 an hour, this is an investment well worth it. It's not even really an investment. It's a tool that I need to have. And if I don't have it, I'm going to be hurting myself. So I went with a radial rocker, and touching it was like looking like at a new car, you know, like just like, it's like I know what a car is, I know what a brush is, but this is just like solid, and it looks different, and it feels different. It feels like it's, you know, like a piece of art. And I was like, wow, you know, like this is awesome. And so once I got it hooked up, had water coming out the many nozzles, I was mind
Peacock
blown.
fan.
Like how is it's like cascading over like so softly, and
Yeah.
I was literally like, still to this day, my smile is like almost hurting my face. Like the brush feels amazing. I haven't even used the pole with it yet. I was still using the OVA 8 pole with the angle adapter. And
Yep.
so anyways, I'm going to the brush and I see these different pads, right? And I see like your cheese grater, you say. And I was like, wow, this is
Yeah.
going to like destroy a window. I was so scared to put it on the glass at first.
Yep.
I'm like how can this a professional window cleaning company advise me to put this on glass? I thought, because I'm not an experienced window cleaner yet at the time, and I was like, this is insane.
We on that point, we have our competitors telling people that these scrubs scratch glass because that fear is so natural, right? And they sell against Radial Rocker to say you should only have non-scratch pads because that's all they can put on theirs, right? And they actually tell people they lock in this. You found the fear for yourself, but they actually lock in the fear. It fascinates me.
Yeah, no, don't
carry on.
Don't lock the fear in. But I definitely had the fear, and so I'd wet the glass and just like without the brush, just like wipe it on the glass at first.
Yeah.
And I'm like drying the glass. I'm like, wow, there's no scratches at all. I'm like, okay, because I do know that the kamimushi, the stink bug poop, needs to be like razored off and
bladed off. Yeah,
bladed off. I think you have a friend and I'm not sure, coworker or partner, a man named Modman on your website.
Yeah. He's a good friend down in Perth. He was on March the 6th. Yeah, 5 days ago he was on Service Six Sigma.
I saw part of his video. Yes.
Yeah.
So
he's my friend.
He's a friend. Okay. On an older.
Well, he is now. We met him through this. Yeah.
Okay.
We met through being. He bought some Reach It stuff and then he started modifying it and giving me tips. Like why don't you do this and why don't you do that? And our other friend Peter Thomas, who will get back on again when he's got good broadband. But so Peter and Byron both work really closely together, and they do all the prototype testing. Those two, for us because they're so deep thinking.
Yeah.
So carry on. Yeah. I don't want to ruin your story.
That's all right, man. So I was watching an older video that you have on your website for free, and Modman was saying that like the
cheese grater,
the cheese grater like takes layers off of the hard debris, like 1 layer, 2 layer.
Yeah.
He's like, like he was saying, like, how many times do you have to brush? Like, how do you judge it? And like sometimes like this brush pad dirt can be taken off in two swipes, 2 passes. This one is 4 passes. This one takes a few more passes. And so I was just thinking like the science behind it, like this brush with this scrubber, this many passes can take off debris. Whereas my Boar's Hair nylon brush, I was just scrubbing away and rinsing away and scrubbing away and rinsing away. It wasn't down to a science whatsoever. And so anyway, so you're different, like the green rubber.
Yeah, the Hulk, we call it.
The Hulk, yeah. That's my favorite out here. That's my favorite.
All right.
Yeah.
And we've got a new one, Tomcat. I'll give just for the people who have never seen Radial Rocker. Basically I worked out that there's 3 ways to agitate, right? So all cleaning is agitate dirt into solution, either a chemical solution, which would be a chemical wash, but for our industry, it's into a watery solution, whether it's with a mop and the detergent in there as a surfactant. So you're always in this wet wipe, dry wipe. If you think about wet wipe, dry wipe, wax on, wax off, right? Everything is this 2-stage process, what you're going to do. So you're going to agitate everything into, actually, we say solution easily because it's an easy word, but it's actually into suspension. Very little goes into solution. Salt, if you've got salt air, salt will go into solution, but everything else, all the other debris goes into suspension. In other words, if you put it in a cup and you let it sit for an hour, the stuff you took off glass would end up at the bottom of the cup. So, and then people who tell you that DI water, it makes it better at cleaning, it's all a myth. It's bullshit, right?
Okay.
The DI water doesn't make any difference at all to the clean process, in my opinion.
Really?
It just doesn't. It just doesn't. Doesn't even need to be an opinion.
No way.
So then everything comes down to the agitation. Once you get it that the water's not helping you, that's really important. What it does is leave a spot-free rinse, which we need to do, right? So it's important. It's critical to you leaving a clean window, but it's not critical to the agitation process. So you can agitate with tap water, rinse with pure water. We have what we call the drive-through car wash method for people who have high TDS but not many jobs. So we sell them a DI tank, and they have a high cost of DI consumption. Mm-hmm. But we tell them, do the frames, do the windows, do everything with tap water, then go back and just do, go and rinse everything off, because all that's left on the glass now is the solids that were in in the tap water. The minerals that were in the tap water, now they're the only thing on the glass because you've agitated everything else off.
Yes.
Right. So that we have that for people who can't afford an RO system, but they're in a high TDS area. And what our competitors will do is persuade them to get an RO system on finance and jag the total price they'll pay for the total price they'll pay for that financed RO system might be 2 or 3 times what they thought they were paying for it upfront, if you just pay cash for it. So I always say, get a DI system, build your business until you've got your alley, get your alley rate up, get one of our brushes so you got the alley rate up. Once you got your alley rate up, you're going to have excess cash. Once you got excess cash, you can start saving. Once you can start saving, you can buy an RO for cash and you don't have to pay finance and have all that extra cost. Right?
If I may,
so back, jump in. Yeah, go. I'm going to come back to agitation, but you jump in.
Regarding agitation and not matching if it's initially used with DI or not. I'll just ask this question first before asking another one later. What is your average TDS in Australia?
There's no average TDS in Australia, but a classic, I can answer this in a complex way, but I'll do my best. Basically there's two TDS markers, right? One is rainwater that lands in a lake and into a catchment area, and the catchment area gathers the water into the lake, and the town supply feeds the town from a lake. That will normally have a TDS of no more than 150, usually 30 to 100. Okay. Depending on what's on the, because it's going to come down through the catchment area, so it's going to pick up some minerals on the way through. But if it's forest, like Melbourne has a TDS of 40, Ningbo, China, where our factory is, the TDS of the water there is 35. Shanghai is 256. Nevada is 900 to 1200. The UK, where pure water came from and the reverse osmosis systems came from, a guy called Craig Morlam developed them for the first time. But in the UK, you've seen the White Cliffs of Dover. That's all lime, right? So that's calcium, right? So in Perth, for example, South Perth, south of the river, the average TDS is 130, 150. North of the river is 450. Why? Because the town supply for the north of Perth is actually from aquifers. Now, when you get aquifers, you've still got rain. Rain is still running this cycle. It rains, it goes into the ground or onto the ground. It ends up in a lake or something. It comes out of the ground and gets used, and then it evaporates, and then it goes up and forms a cloud, and then it rains somewhere else. But the water is always going round and round and round, right? So this, it rains, then it goes into the ground, right? And it ends up in the underground aquifers. And then there's not like there are underground rivers that are like pipes. It's porous rock, right? So the water is sitting in and passing through and traveling through porous rock. And that porous rock, in order to be porous, is basically a soft mineral compound, like a calcium carbonate or something, like a limestone or it's calcium, magnesium. And so the water, as it's going through underground, is picking up the minerals, or it's brackish if it's near the sea, so it's got a bit of salt in it.
Right.
So then the TDS is higher. If you've got aquifer water, you're going to have a TDS of 300 to 600. If you've got, or 900 or 1200, but if you've got lime everywhere, right, then you've got mostly calcium in the TDS, and then you've got what's truly hard water. A hard water is not high TDS. Hard water is high calcium percentage of the total TDS. So if you Google water quality report Hokkaido, the government at least once a year will put out a report for every town, every area, Boise, Eagle. You'd probably look up the area that you're in Idaho, Ben, and then they might have the same website for the whole area, and then they'll show you Boise water supply, Eagle water supply. That's where Ben lives. And so you Google this, and then you look into it, and then you see total TDS or conductivity. Conductivity and TDS are the same thing, because TDS is actually a measure of conductivity. It's not a measure of spot free. That's another illusion. TDS 10 is spot free. Dude, TDS 10 means it's got 10 micro ohms or whatever they are, right? That's what it is, right? It's not a measure of spot free. It's a guide to spot free, So in Sydney, for example, we used to do all our residential work with TDS 50 because the minerals in Sydney water was
Yeah,
100
you
TDS.
said that.
The minerals in the water wasn't drying white, so you can't see them. So you've got spot free at 50. You know.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Did I answer that well?
Yes, you did. If I may, that leads me to people who are on the fence, like myself, of having a RODI system, one of yours specifically. It's kind of like a business question, like cost, like operating cost.
Perfect.
And so if you're using, let's say, like in 1 year, let's say you have to recharge your DI tank 7 times. Or if you had your like flow gold or flow red with an RO tank leading before the DI, you wouldn't have to change your DI or RO all year if you only, right? Is that
correct? What's your TDS in Hokkaido?
40.
Okay, never get an RO.
Oh, never get
Ever.
Okay.
Ever. Under 100 TDS, never get an RO. You will never get a return on investment. And your question was so beautifully framed because I say to people, what our competition sells, they sell the RO on the TDS. If you've got a TDS over 100, you need an RO. I can't afford an RO. We've got finance, right? You know, so I go like, you know, the reality is that the RO is a business decision, not a water quality decision. It's a business decision that if you spend $2,000 a year in DI resin, then you get an RO, and that 2,000 will become 100 to 200, right? So you're 1,800, 1,900 ahead, but you've got some sediment filters and carbon filters. So let's say you're 1,700 ahead, you know, for the year, right? Now, if your RO system's, let's say $2,000, then let's say, you know, in round numbers, you get an ROI. Your second year, you'll start making money if you haven't wrecked your membranes, but maybe let's say 18 months, you'll start getting a return on investment. Yeah.
I see. Yes.
So, but at TDS 40, you'd put down, even if it's $1,000 on an RO, you know, TDS 40, it would be 5 years later that you'd get an RO, a return on investment. Then you have to change. Well. Yeah. Your water is so close to spot free, you could. You know, it's so close to spot free. It's not spot free, but it's so close to spot free.
Very close, yes. Very.
Yeah. So when I was in Sydney, what I did, and you could do this, you could set up. You've got how many DI tanks do you run? 1 or 2 in line?
Two
in line.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go to your equivalent of Home Depot, Bunnings, you know, kind of thing, and you get a Gardena Y fitting. Yeah. Yes. So your water comes in. You put a Y. Send this one through your DI.
Yes.
On this one, put a ball valve or a needle valve. Needle valves are better, right? But a ball valve will work. On this one, bypass. And then on the other side of the 2 DIs, put a Y.
Really?
Right? So you've got 2 Ys. This line is going through DI. This line is bypassing DI. And this line has a close open. Fully closed, all water goes through DI. Half open, half water goes through DI, half water goes around the DI. You know, and you could adjust. You could have TDS 40 coming out of your DI system at TDS 20, which is spot free for you, and you've halved your DI cost.
Wow.
I mean, it may not be worth it. You know, at TDS 40, it might not be worth it. At TDS 60, and then is your water all TDS 40, or do you get some jobs where it's higher?
Yeah, I've never seen over 43 anywhere in the area.
Okay, yeah, no. So you could do that, and you just want to reduce it to the point that it's spot free. How much are you spending on DI resin a year now?
Probably only like roughly 600 to 700.
Okay, so you could save $300 probably, you know, but it's a bit of a, you know, would you? I don't know, you know.
I could probably save more too, like, and people in my situation as well, if we utilize the reach. It has like the kink that turns off the water, you know.
Yes.
Ball valve to turn off the water.
Don't use a ball valve. Just use kink, because You don't want to introduce another step. Ben and I went through this. He was going to get one of those little tuggy tap things. And I go, dude, the art of efficiency is don't have anything, which is another process unless you need to, because you'll save water and DI, you'll save $300 a year, and it'll cost you 4 minutes every job or whatever. You know what I mean? And that's your hourly rate, which is way more than that.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, don't waste it. Just kink it. Kink is good. Going from one building to another, or
Ben,
I just got those strap-on kinks.
Ben.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
I guess so after thinking about it. Let's keep it PG here, guys.
That's awesome. Well, Ben, when you're using your strap-on kinks, do you ever notice that? Have you ever what do you call it? When the connectors ever separated from pressure? Have you ever encountered that situation?
You mean the push fits?
No.
Yeah, if you use them, do they have a lifespan or no? Okay.
No, so I'll tell you about push fits, right? So firstly, there's a little blue circlip, horseshoe-shaped thing that you can get in the pack. And if you look, you've probably got them and didn't know what they were. That is a collar lock. So in order for a push fit to open, you pull the collar back, and then the tube is free, because there are little tiger teeth in there that are going like this, stainless steel tiger teeth. And they're bending. When you pull the collar back, that pulls them in so the tube can come out. And then when you push it in, and they bite. So when you put a collar lock in there, the little blue horseshoey thing, that stops the collar from being able to come back, right? And
I was not using those at the time that I had my
so then when you drag those hoses, or you have it, when you've got it on the ovate, maybe you're trying to separate the brush from the pole, so you put a push fit in the middle, you've got to use the collar locks.
So I have 2 75-foots of the high flow tubes. So what I did is I put that in the middle of those horseshoe clip things, so that the push connect doesn't disconnect from each other. So especially
if you pull against a rock or something like that. Yeah, if you're running along and you pull it against a rock, and all of a sudden your hoses will come undone.
Yeah.
Hey, so we have a question here. Do you see that, Perry? The $300 to $400 hour rate.
I can answer that. I can answer that. Denver.
Team of 2.
Denver's gonna be joining us soon as well.
Oh, cool.
In Six Sigma. So the $300 to $400 an hour is a Radial Rocker result, right? So only on Radial Rocker, on difficult to clean windows that have been quoted before, because somebody like Charles, he was there with his boar hair brush, so he's quoted it based on, each window is going to take me 4 minutes, and then he gets Radial Rocker and it takes him 30 seconds. So all of a sudden he's times 4. And especially if you quoted when you're using pencil jets, then you're quoting on the basis of agitating the window, right? Agitate, bang, 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 the frames, bang, 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 the frames, all that bullshit, right? The old Tucker method, and then, oh shit, look at that, Sean Parsons. And then you've got to take it off, and it's hydrophobic glass. And so then you've got to chase, and the more hydrophobic it is, the closer your rinse lines, need to be. If it's hydrophilic, you can do something like this. But if it's hydrophobic and it rejects the water, you've got to go across like 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch like that. So that all takes time. Now with Radial Brush and Radial Rock, all the Radial brushes that have got the bristles on them, right? The top bristle is a blade. The water doesn't go through it, right? So it holds the rinse water. That's why we don't need to squirt the water very far. It just needs to reach and sit on top of the blades. And then as you come down, the blades break the surface tension of the glass. All glass behaves hydrophilic. So now you have an on-glass rinse where the water cascades, whether the window is hydrophobic or hydrophilic, right? So on-glass rinse is the key to that $400, $450 an hour, because that whole agitate, rinse, 2-phase, long rinse phase with glass, which was previously quoted, right? And that's one of the traps of becoming a long-time Reach-It user. You start thinking, about how fast you are, and you might change your quoting. But But if it's previously coated with a standard broom style brush and pencil jets, right, then you're just going to go ×4, ×5 speed. Once you get the radial technique down pat, and you have to, it's like a squeegee, you have to angle the brush across the top. Don't you, Ben?
I think there's something also that can help us as well is people who are transferring from the nylon brushes or Boar's Hair brushes to your Reach It series. I think that like the rinsing, I picked up, you said like you don't need to rinse, but once. And so when I was transferring from the Boar's Hair brushes, I have to rinse a lot. And so with the Reach It, I've caught myself like over rinsing.
Doing it again. Yeah, Ben was doing it. I was doing it. Ben was doing it. But you have to learn to trust. You have to learn. So here we go. We'll go back to agitation and rinse, right? Because so everything is agitation and rinse. So if you're and this is all part of SOPs, Charles, because when you go to train your backpackers, you got to have a simple, fast method of transferring the knowledge to them so that they get it right. Yeah. So you go, okay, wax on, wax off. Everybody's seen that kid, right? Now we're going to go wash and dry. So if you go to the bathroom, you're going to wipe the walls, right? You're going to dry it. If mum's wiping the kitchen bench top, she's wiping the kitchen bench top, then she's drying it. If she doesn't dry it, you see all the solids, all the TDS. You see them all in the white marks of the dirty water from the dirty rag, right? Cloth. Sorry, I got to use the right word for you guys. Towel. Right.
Terry cloth.
Right. Down under it's just a rag, right? But it doesn't work. So now you understand that agitation and rinse, all cleaning is a two-step part process. Agitate first. We're going to agitate until all the debris is in suspension. Yeah. So now everything, whether it's from the mop, right, where you're doing it with the mop, or whether you're doing it with the brush. Now everything is in suspension. We now need to clean that suspension dirty water off the glass and leave the glass clean. So with a traditional, we've mopped it up and we've got all the stuff. If you let that dry with the soap and the dirt, you'll have rearranged the dirt on the window, right? Wow. So that's what happens when it rains on a black car, right? People think the rain dirties your car. It doesn't dirty your car. It rearranges the dirt on your car into circles because the beads get the dirt in suspension, right? And then as they dry from the outside in because of the nature of the shape, and then the density of the dirt, gets pushed in because of the ionic attractions and repellings. It pushes the dirt into the center so that the spot is more dense in the middle than it is on the outside. Yeah. But that's what happens as a bead dries. Now what we do is we demineralize the water so that when the bead dries, there's no solids, so there's no spot, or there's no reflecting solids, so there's no visible spot. Is also clean, right? For the sake of what is cleaning, right? It's if you can see through the window and you can't see anything in the way, then it's clean.
Yes.
So now we wanted to do agitate. We want to get the debris into suspension as fast as possible. So that's when you change from a nylon bristle brush, and we have radial and radial light or nylon bristle brushes. They have their place, right? Dusty, regular clean. Nylon is faster, less work on the body, everything, right? If from nylon, we want to go to something which has got some grab, right? So nylon basically, it doesn't scratch glass, but it scratches dirt off the glass. It's like running your fingertips. And that's what we do sometimes. We use our fingertips, we scratch it, right? So then the next one is scrape, which we talked about the blade and we talked about cheese grater. A scrape pad or scrub runs all. And the reason why it doesn't scratch, runs all of the material that's going to scrape the glass parallel to the glass, right? So it's our steel wool, our bronze wool. If you look at them, they're not steel wool like mishy-mashy bird's nesty stuff where some of the strands can be sticking out. They're all laid out parallel in a line. And then when they run across the glass, they are running parallel to the glass. So they're taking stuff off the glass. And the same with blue metal. Blue metal is stainless steel, woven into polyester, right? But it's woven. It's like a zigzag, whereas cheese grater is like a big blade. Yeah,
the blue metal is second favorite in here.
Right? Yeah. There you go. Because it's very sharp. But when you look at carborundum, there's another two new ones we've got. Carborundum it's a non-scratch pad on non-treated glass. It's got to be clear like real glass, because it'll scratch a treated surface. But that's how sharp it is. It's super sharp. But it's like blue metal, but finer. It's like emery paper. If you think about emery,
I didn't see that on
Yeah.
your website. I looked for the
Yeah.
carborundum, but I couldn't see it for the radial rocker. Do you have
It's
it?
there. It's there. Yeah, it's
Okay, I'll
there.
look again.
And then the new one, if you like the green rubber, the Hulk, we have another one called Tomcat. The guy who works with Peter in Perth, Byron Modman's friend, and our mutual friend. So Tom, he found this material, the Tomcat material. So we called it Tomcat because he's Tom. His name's Tom.
Yeah.
So
I'll look
we
again.
called it Tomcat, but it eats bee poo. But then somebody got some of it by mistake the other day, and he says, "Mate, this feels too scratchy." And I said, "Oh, wait till you wet it, right? Because when you get it, it's like, isn't it, Ben? It's kind of weird, dry, Tomcat. It's really, it feels sharp. But when you wet it, it becomes grippy, right? We have another one called silicon. We have silicon bristles as well for solar panels that have been treated, that have a treatment. Anything which has a treatment, you really have to be careful, because the treatments are very thin, so you can't scratch them away. And you can wreck a solar panel. I shouldn't digress too much, but you can wreck a solar panel by scratching a hole in the ARC, the anti-reflective coating, the blue coating. If you scratch a hole over a wafer, that wafer will become a hot spot. That wafer will burn out, and you'll wreck that panel. That panel will die, right? So it's really like, and nobody knows. You see all the guys who are solar cleaning expert and stuff like that, and you see what they're using is so wrong, but they don't know anything about solar panels. Nothing. I used to sell solar panels, so I already had that knowledge, and I used to do QC for an Austrian company in China. I used to go to the factories and do the QC for a buddy of mine who does 5-star. He did the Burj Khalifa, not with solar. He did the hot water system for the Burj Khalifa, the Grosvenor Towers, the Mecca Tower. Yeah, he does all this stuff, but he does huge installations for solar. Yeah. So I actually know a lot about solar that people don't know I know, but I'm not. That's not my game. So I just
Are those friends of yours Australian? Because that's kind of interesting how like a Middle Eastern country. Austrian.
It's 120 ecotherm.com. Is it ECOTHERM? So I actually went to China and worked from Qingdao for Ecotherm when I moved to China.
No way.
Yeah. And we sold that solar thermal system on top of the Shugong private hospital. Yeah, so that was the history. And then my Chinese business partner, Aussie Chinese, didn't give me my commission. So then he said, "I'll give you a salary." And I said, "Dude, I'm not as happens to every foreigner." So I said, "I've already spent all my money. I've only got, like, seriously, I had $6,000. I went back to Australia. I said to Harrison, we are not going back losers, right? We cannot come to China and go back losers."
Yeah.
So I had $6,000 left, and I went back to Australia and sold everything. Got $6,000 and started Reach It with me and Harry in an apartment in Shanghai.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
I said, we've got to burn the bridge. That's the rule of war, right? You burn the bridge behind the soldiers and say, "You want to see your wife and kids? Win."
Yeah, and burn the boat too if you came over to an island.
Yeah, burn the boat. If you want to see your wife and kids, win. Don't go home a loser. You ain't going home a loser, right? Anyway, so back to agitation. So you've got scratch, which is the bristles, scratch stuff off the glass. Scrape, which is your blade. Now we've got Z-Force, which is a water-fed blade. I don't know if you've seen that in the store, if you haven't jumped in there recently. Yeah, so Z-Force is a water-fed blade, but then in the radial rocker and only in radial rocker we've got the scrape functions, which is cheese grater, steel wool, bronze wool. And then the third one is grab. Now that's where we go back to boar's hair. Boar's hair is a grab. It is a high friction coefficient, right, on the glass. So, and dry boar's hair, when you get a boar's hair brush and it's brand new, like you touch it, all right, and it's really stiff like a nylon bristle brush. But you put it in water for 3 minutes, and all of a sudden it's got a bed head. It's soft, and like same as what happens. My hair's all lovely, but if I came straight out of the shower and my hair's still wet, I'd look like a weirdo. So, so you know what I mean. So hair, like, and boar's hair is hair. That's what it is, a natural fiber. So if boar's hair should always be wet at least 3 minutes before you use it. and then because it's soft, it's now the sides of the if this is the glass, it's the sides of the fibers that are doing the cleaning, not the tips. Nylon bristles are extruded through a machine, so it's basically they push the fiber through the machine, so the sides of the fiber are perfectly smooth. They've got no agitation. As soon as you compress a bristle so that the sides of the bristles are on the glass, you're just going to leave little lines. You're never gonna scratch anything off with the side of a nylon bristle.
So you don't push the brush.
Yeah, but all of our brushes are designed as a dual trim or a triple trim. The radial is a triple trim, but it's a dual trim, and it's scientifically measured so that the inner bristles stop the outer bristles from collapsing, right? So when you splay it, these will hit the glass when these are at 35, 40 degrees. So now they're going to scratch.
Perfect.
Right?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where Radial Rocket Plate is the same. The Radial Rocket Plate with a scrub on it, it changes it a little bit with Magic Eraser because it's thicker, but that's okay for the purposes of this, because the reason you're putting Magic Eraser on is actually for the Magic Eraser, for the getting the sticker residue off or something like that, or silicon. Creep, the rubber creep from the seals, that kind of thing. That's where Magic Eraser comes into it. Right. So then you got the grab function. So Boar's Hair was and is, and in some places, possibly it's got, it's always got advantages. There's always a right tool for a right job, and I'm never going to talk down Boar's Hair, but the scientific function of Boar's Hair is a grab coefficient, right? You're grabbing stuff by having a sticky. It's like your squeegee rubber without detergent in your water. It's going to grab on the glass, right?
Perry. I also want to interject, if I may.
Go.
When I was explaining about using nylon and Boar's Hair, definitely not talking down about that at all. But what makes the Reach It brush, Boar's Hair and non-Boar's Hair, so different is like the angles that the brush can move, how it pivots and rotates. The solid fixed brushes with the pencil jets, I've never come across one yet that pivots the way your brushes do. So that's basically where I should be pinpointing it, is like some brushes have like a loose kind of pivot, but it's nothing compared to the smoothness and like the precise angles that your radial brushes are offering.
And can I ask you this then? I want to ask you this. Did you notice the difference when you changed from using the Over 8, where we said change it out in their angle adapter, to the Reach It, where you could just plug it straight in? When you get another 1.5 inches closer to the glass, and the pivot changes its function.
Right. So I took a bunch of notes, but I haven't cleaned any glass since that time. Okay.
Well, you'll notice when you change, if you get them both out, get the Over 8 and then change it out at the 40 teeth lever, put the rocker on, and then you feel that, and you get close to the building and get away from the building, and then you watch the brush, and if the brush stays square on the glass this way, and then but if the swivel is wrong, when you get close to the building, for example, and you twist the pole, so you go to swivel the brush, you'll notice that one side will want to come off.
Right.
That means that the swivel system is not right, and there's nobody I'm telling you the inner secrets of Reach It right now. I hope our competitors are not watching, but anyway, so we mastered it so that everything is flat on the glass under all conditions. And and when you put it on a Reach It pole, this only affects you when you're really close to the building. But when you put the brush on a Reach It pole with the pivot so close and tight together, close to the window, close to the pole, then you'll get this amazing. And you've got to isolate the tube with a 14-inch piece of tube that we put in the kit with you. So you separate.
It's truly a set. It's not a one piece. It's like
But if anybody's going to start anywhere, they should start with our brush and use their pole, because they're still going to be way faster.
Yes.
Look at that. What a beauty.
I just got this about a week ago, and I've been playing around with it in the living room. I was telling Ben, extending it, retracting it. This thing is so smooth and awesome.
It's smooth.
Yeah. And there's these triangular locks. When I first pulled it out, I was like, how can a circular tube not like twist. And then I saw this, I'm like, oh, that's already been taken care of. He has these locks here.
Yeah. And you do have to watch. Some people bag us out and say you get a finger pinch. If you get a finger pinch once, you'll only get it once.
Yeah,
if you leave your finger in there, and it doesn't happen when you're lowering the pole, but if you let the pole drop, right, and and your finger's there, no shit, Sherlock, it's gonna hurt.
How do you get a little blue pink blood coming out?
You'll just get a little blood blister for a week, and I'm sorry, and then after that, you'll never do it again, and you're away.
Those are called CBs.
CBs? What's that?
CBs. Those are what I tell my employees. Character builders.
A character
builder's brilliant. John Bassett goes, unfortunately, not once.
Gives you some character.
I like it.
Yeah.
I had a question about this, the hose. Like, you put the hose through this runner, right?
Yeah, tube runner, yeah.
Mm-hmm. When you're extending, like when you retract and extend the pole.
Just pull it out when you retract. Pull it out when you retract.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Don't put it in all the, like, basically extend clip. Otherwise you don't extend it all the way, and it also, that pole pulls apart. What's that? A Warrior or a Tactical?
Warrior.
So that pulls apart section 1, 3, and 5 pull out, and they've got stainless steel end defenders in them. If you pull the top section out, just the number 1, so you open clamp 2. Yeah, take that all the way out, all the way. There you go, and then that's a stainless steel there. So 1, 3, and 5, and 7 have got stainless steel there, and that means you can use that as a ground pole.
I understood.
Right, and you can put it on the ground, and it's not going to fray your carbon fiber.
Yeah, I've done that with the OVA 8.
Yeah, that's an intentional omission, because we've been doing this for 12 years. They could have copied us at any point, and they don't, because it wears down the pole and you have to buy a new section or a new pole. Yeah.
I have a request for you. Your company might get into like carpet cleaning and things. How about snow removal? This carbon pole extended can knock off roof snow.
I have a design in my mind for that, which you and I can talk about. And I know what to do, because you have to direct the snow chunk away from the guy, and none of the ones that are on the market direct the snow chunk away from the guy.
Right, they go straight to the person.
Come straight at you. Yeah. So I know what to do. I just haven't done it.
Okay,
yeah.
We'll talk later. Winter.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Another year, but we'll talk.
There you go. That. Yeah, that's how much time we need to give it a bash, and then another year to find out that we got it right, or basically my logic is is to work out how to get it to slightly angle and change the direction of the snow as it's coming down. And I don't know if we can do it, because it moves pretty fast,
It does, but I think the technology, at least the thought process that you have put into the window cleaning, that thought process could definitely remove snow. It's like water as well, right? So I think you can do that.
Yeah, and the other one is the stalactites. Thinking about
icicles. Yes,
the safe removal of icicles is another one where you say carbon fiber. How do you get the operator not to be anywhere near underneath those when they come down? And then how do you? So I don't know if we need to get like a hot wire, system, like cutting of foam, or there's. I've sort of pondered on how I do it, but again, I don't have anybody in the field. I'm living in perfect 31 degrees Celsius every day.
I've got snow outside still. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but that's not window cleaning, but your pole, I think, could be used for other things.
Yeah,
like
damn right.
Right.
Yeah, especially because a lot of the guys. This is the same as when I came into this industry. When I came into this industry, nobody. If I said nobody, I might be exaggerating, but if anybody was, there was only one, and it was a super extreme. But nobody was making carbon fiber only poles. They were all hybrid poles at best, right? And I thought, no, these should be industrial tools. They should be okay, I don't care that they're heavy, a little bit heavy, because they're not heavy. It's carbon
Yeah.
fiber. You know, the light is light for a working man. But okay, you could make it lighter by using less carbon fiber and make them cheaper by using less carbon fiber. But I wanted them to last a long time. You know, I wanted them to last 10 years, you know, kind of thing, you know. So you can replace the clamps every 2 years, because that's the sacrificial part. That's the you know, the zinc block on the hull of the boat. You know, that's whenever you've got you know, two moving parts, you've got wear and tear. One part should be sacrificial, right? So if they glue the clamp on, then all the carbon fiber and the clamp become sacrificial.
Well, that's
so
with all your products. They're all repairable.
Yes, all repairable, serviceable, sustainable, if you want the modern word, you know. But we were sustainable way before sustainable became an in thing, you know.
Yeah,
like your radial rocker, you can replace any part of that radial rocker. 3 years from now, you know, you go, I want new bristles just because I want to have a new brush. You know, you can put new bristles, new rocker, new everything. It's all in there. Yeah. So people go, it's an expensive brush, but you go, well, I don't think so, you know, because you know, the other brushes, you know, they wear out, and then you got to replace them and replace them and replace them. So the price might be low, but the cost is high. Whereas ours, the price is high, but the cost is low. You know, so but I appeal to business-minded people. I don't appeal to people who've got, you know, they want to buy a cheap tool at the expense of time. I want to sell an expensive tool that saves time, because the most expensive part of window cleaning is labor, not tool. Yeah, and then everybody goes, oh, but your tools break, which they used to. You know, if you had a Neanderthal operator, you know, God bless them. Augie was on a couple of nights ago, and he was our ultimate Neanderthal. You know, he would smash everything. But you know, over time, we work at how to make everything, you know, Neanderthal proof. So if we can make it so that the most brutal guy can't break it, and it still works for the most, you know, for the 40 kilo person, like a Japanese native, you know.
Yeah, I had some females, Japanese females.
I noticed in your photos, Ben, can you pull it? Have you got any of those photos loaded? He's got nice, I shouldn't say much. He's got Japanese women.
Yeah, I don't even know how to speak correctly anymore. Living in Japan for so long, I've been away from what's politically correct. I don't know.
Yes. No. Tell me, we missed the whole woke thing, right?
Yeah.
They're like, we left as dudes talking shit, and we go, I can't go home.
No, you'll walk right into some trouble. I have no idea even exists. You know,
we're just gonna get killed.
So is this your truck?
Yeah. So this is my truck's basic like fit out. So I've got the blue tank, two blue filters, a charcoal filter, a reservoir water tank for the pressure washer, and the blue jerry can has like a chlorine inside, where I downstream, and then I have up top the over 8s and some regular brushes for the floors and some 8mm orange holes on the top.
Have you ever used your tank to draw from for the water fed pole?
Yes, I have. I put a C-Flow. C-Flow. It's like basically a 12-volt pump. A brand called C-Flow. Yeah. I don't know why they're not more popular with water-fed pole users and stuff. But anyway, I used the pump, very affordable.
No, because SureFlow is made in Mexico, and C-Flow is made in China, and SureFlow targeted itself. It's got a perfect pump, you know, for the average guy. So they've got the market. That's the corporation, the American corporation supply. Yeah, is SureFlow, and then they've got SureFlow, FlowJet, but nobody knows about C-Flow. But C-Flow makes quite similar configurated pumps. Yeah.
Understood. Okay, so I have a pump. I'm not really sure about the branding. So I have a pump, and I would put the pump on 2 pumps, 8, like 27 liter per minute, and then a real small one, like 8 liters per minute or something. And then I would basically, I made like a plywood board that has a power converter in a plastic box connected to the pump.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, you can use a pump for that. Tucker, I think they have a truck mount, and I was trying to like make my own truck mount at the time. And I was going to put, if you look at the 1,000 liter tank, you'll see there's the metal grid, right, supporting the plastic tank.
Yeah.
I had put the board onto that, fastened it onto there, and had the one hose drawing water and the other one pumping into the filter. I did notice that it got hot after, continuously cleaning the large building, not super large, but it was like 2 villas. The pump got hot to the touch, and it would turn off. I don't know what do you call it?
So that means that the volume rate that you're trying to push through is higher than the volume rate that you can handle. And then what you do for that is you can set up a pressure relief system which reticulates. So let's say when you're window cleaning with one brush, right? All the big reach brushes, radial and radial rocker, they're all based around 2 liters a minute, half a gallon a minute as a flow rate. Now let's say you've got an 8 liter a minute and you pump and you only need to use 2 liters a minute, right? Then your pump is trying really hard to push 8 liters a minute, and you're going, I'm squeezing that with hose and tube and reel and all that. I'm making all this back pressure, so the pressure in the pump is going up. The higher the pressure goes up in the pump, the harder it tries, the more amps it draws. The more amps it draws, the hotter it becomes. The hotter it becomes, the less efficient it comes. Right? So to solve that, to solve it quickly, right? You know how I talked about the Y?
Yes.
The 2 Ys?
Yes.
Right? All you do is in your outline after your pump going to your water fed pole, you put a Y piece in there. Then again, a needle valve or a ball valve, a big needle valve, not a baby one, right? Yeah. But a needle valve or a ball valve. And then the other side of that goes back into the tank. Right? So now you're especially if you've tried using your 27 liter a minute and you're going to use 2 liters a minute, right? Yeah. So that's like just to give Americans an idea, that's like a 13 gallon minute pump, and you only want half a gallon a minute. That's or something like, or a 6 gallon a minute. Anyway, something like that. It's huge. So then you want to reticulate. So you'll just bypass until you've got you don't want pressure. You only want flow rate for window cleaning. Pressure washing, you want pressure. Window cleaning, you want flow rate, right? So then you're going to reticulate most of that water back into the tank and just have the amount of water going to your pole that you need.
Thank you so much. Great.
Yeah. So when it's cycling, when you're getting that on off, right? It cycles when it hits. Every pump has a pressure switch, right? And it's rated. So for example, if you get a 1.8 gallon a minute pump, 100 PSI, 8 amp, right. So then if you just plug that pump into a water source or against your tank, it will pump out 1.8 gallons per minute.
Right.
Right. Now, as soon as you start introducing resistance, right, now you have resistance, the flow rate's going to drop. So that 1.8 will become 1.6, 1.4, 1.2, 1.0. And at the same time, the pressure, which is actually back pressure, will be going from 0, nothing attached to the pump, up towards 100 or 200, whatever its cap is, right?
Right.
So now, when that pump was working with nothing attached to it, you're just using it as a transfer pump, right? It's delivering 1.8 gallons per minute. It's drawing probably around 4 amps, about half of its maximum rating, right? So it's going to be drawing 4 amps. But as the back pressure builds up, the flow rate is dropping. The pressure is getting closer and closer. When it gets to 100 PSI, the rating on the pump, that's the pressure switch is going to turn off at that point. But just before that point, it was drawing 8 amps. That's its rating. Just before the pressure switch is the rating of the amps. So your job is to have as little pressure as possible in the system so that you're drawing less amps as possible, which will save your battery and all that stuff.
Thank you.
And then you know that when you see Flow Gold, you'll understand the math in Flow Gold is incredible. You do not need Flow Gold. You know, it would only be it would only be an ornament, but
I did think about it as an ornamental, as a showcase. You know,
I'll send you an empty one. We'll
no filters inside. Just the case.
Just the case with the bright lights. You can say, this is my filter. Just put your DI tank, hide your DI tank inside it.
image.
But it's true. But the reason we make Flow Gold, Flow Red is beautiful, right? Flow Red Plus, but Flow Gold is stunning. You know, it's more beautiful than an Italian espresso machine. You know, so but it's but it's there, like the same as an espresso machine. If you understood, the inside of most espresso machines is identical, right? What's different is what's outside. You know, how much stainless steel, how much shiny bits, how many. You know, how big are the knobs and how smooth are they? And like, you know, there's it's the experience for the machine. So Flow, because I've always been a salesman, I always think about you. You need to increase your hourly rate in front of your customer. When you go start making $400 an hour, or if Sean Parson had himself at $1,000 an hour on one job or two jobs, and I've had ones like that, and I'll tell you when to do them. You do them on Sunday morning before sunrise, right? Sunday morning, so nobody's going to see you. But if you're going to make $1,000 an hour on a job, like we used to do a car yard and we'd make like ridiculous money, but we did it on once a month on Sunday mornings. Nobody saw us do it.
Right.
We told the guy, the building's clean, pay us. Right. But we'd do it, and we have hype light or floodlights or whatever, so we could light up in the middle of the night. But anyway, that's another story. So
that's understood, though. That's a good point.
But the idea is that when you have to justify how you make money, you have to be able to say, I have all the best equipment, you know, so I bought the best equipment so I can work faster. The faster I work, the less I bother you. Your time is worth money, right? So my logic is the faster you can work, the better you are at customer service for the customer's experience, because you're not on their property for very long, but you had to pay big money for the equipment. So I'm gonna make good money in return for my investment. I spent money to make money, you know, like that. Anyway,
I agree. Thank you guys for your time. Yeah.
Yes.
We can do it again.
Well,
this is great because you were both in daytime.
Sure.
Yeah,
this is interesting. But I said to Ben, I never want Service Six Sigma to be about Reach It, but of course it can be but it can be about Reach It in a situation like this, because your questions are not. We didn't. You and I have never talked.
No,
me and Charles have never talked. Not before we go live, right? So there's no canned, no scripted, no nothing. I'm shocked that you got the polls in the background and all that. I'm going, whoa. Yeah. But anyway, this is genuine life, right? And there are definitely people out there with the same questions as you, and my answers given to you as an authentic, genuine answer, rather than trying to type them into a website, are valuable, highly valuable, isn't it?
Highly.
You know, nobody.
Highly valuable.
Or he's got lots of notes.
Oh, great,
I do the same thing every night.
Yeah.
Wisdom, man. He's experienced, knowledgeable,
very
at a high level. So I'm just like absorbing everything in.
Yeah, and I didn't ask you any of the questions I wanted to ask you about.
Maybe another interview.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Maybe another night. Yes.
Yeah.
And we'll do it because we've got to close out. We're definitely there. If you've got an Apple, there you go. Look at this.
Oh, he's got an Apple, right?
Yeah.
Oh, see, do that. Put 2 thumbs up. Or you can do.
Yeah.
Oh, why is it not working?
Maybe. What's going on? Why doesn't it work for you?
Why does it not work?
What's supposed to happen?
Oh,
there we go.
Maybe you're meant to get these things. This is all Apples will do this now. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, but maybe you got to upgrade to the latest operating system.
Yeah.
Upgrade your software, bro.
I need to upgrade.
Then you can do this, you know. Well, somehow that's because I haven't got. My son taught me them. There, look at that.
No way. What?
Yeah, and you get little bubbles. And what was the other one you did? 2 bubbles is. What's the other one, Ben? How did you get the balloons earlier?
I don't know. I was talking something about strap.
Oh, peace. Yeah.
No.
Oh, he's messing it up.
Sorry, buddy.
All right.
Fantastic.
Charles, we'll have you on the next time.
Yeah.
This was a great show.
Loved it.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks for having me on.
Yep. Catch you next time.
Appreciate it, bro. Thank you.
Yeah.
See you, Charles.
All right.
Great.
If you like this show today, catch us on to another episode. We'll for sure have Charles on another time. But remember that Idaho had daylight savings time, so switch your clock, switch your reminders onto the next show. So, anything else, Perry?
No, let's let's get on with the day. I got
let's get on with
lots
the day.
going on.
All right.
You
Catch you guys next time.
Hang around, Charles. Hang around. Stay on, and we'll talk to you in the back room.